Good morning, everybody. I'm finally getting around to building this little chopper that I picked up a couple years ago, I guess at this point. It's a cool little homemade bike. At least I believe it's homemade. I don't know a ton about it. But we're just going to go through the process of reviving this thing and making it run and ride again. Alright, so I bought this little chopper a couple years ago from a guy in near Cottage Grove, Oregon, and I think he told me it was homemade. I'm not really 100% sure. It's a very interesting design. It looks homemade, but I really don't know. He said that these are valve springs from a small block Chevy, you know, stuff like that. That front wheel looks like the wheel and tire from a baby stroller or something. It's just, I thought it had a really cool look to it. Bicycle pegs. These are bicycle pegs from a Mongoose. It has no provisions for a brake. It did have a sprocket on it when I got it and a chain. So it was kind of like it may have been rideable, but like I said, it had no brakes on it. The engine I believe to be pretty new. It looks basically stock. And no, it doesn't look like anybody's messed with anything on the engine. So we got that going for us, although I've never seen it run. I've never had it running. Bicycle brake handle for a throttle. So there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be sorted out to make this thing rideable. And the closer you get to it, sometimes it seems a little sketchy and a little weird. Like this rear axle, which is basically... well, the spacers are janky, and the axle itself is just like a pin. So it goes through here. I'm guessing there's a shoulder or something to keep it from going through. And over here, it looks like there was a cotter pin. So, and then when I took the sprocket off, I found these, you know, lug nuts for spacers and crappy hardware and stuff like that. So the more you dig into it, kind of the sketchier some things get. But I still think it's a really cool bike. It's got a cool look, rowdy look to it. And I've just been digging through all my stuff that I got so that I can come up with a list of things I need to buy and figure out how I'm going to make this whole thing work. So like I've got a disc brake rotor that I think is going to work. I've got a disc brake caliper. I've got this cool headlight, which I'm super excited about. It's got that vibe to it. So I need a different sprocket. This sprocket is way too big. I don't think it's going to work. I got a couple of brake master cylinders. My idea is to make a foot, to just have a rear brake and make it foot powered, so I don't have a brake handle on the handlebars. And then I'm going to get a regular motorcycle throttle. And these are mountain bike grips, so these are going away for some motorcycle grips. A lot of stuff like that. I got some chain. I got a kickstand. This thing doesn't have a kickstand on it. Obviously, this is way too big, but we can modify it to work, or we can make something. I'm not really sure yet, but this bike needs a kickstand. So there's just a handful of things, that I need to gather for this. But for today, I think I'm going to go ahead and get everything on order, but we are going to pressure wash this thing. It is just covered in grime and gunk, and it just needs to be cleaned to start with. The motor plate under there is looking sketchy to me. The more I look at it, there's some big holes in it and stuff like that. There's a lot. Oh, another thing really cool about this is this belt drive. I haven't really seen... I might need a new belt too. I've seen this before, but it's not very common. But it's got a belt drive to it. I'm not really sure if there's any reduction or what here, so I guess I probably should measure these and try to see if there is. But the plan for today is to clean this and see if we can get this motor running. I'm gonna get all those other parts on order, and we're gonna get this thing going. Alright, so we got this thing cleaned up, and I've never tried to start this. I don't know if there is gas in here, or I don't know anything about it. So I want to look in the tank. Oh, yep, there is gas in there. And it's varnished. So that means we are definitely going to have to pull the gas tank, dump it out, pull the carb, clean it out, because there's no way this thing is going to run with varnished gas in it. So I guess I could leave that out for now. So that means take the intake box off, take the whole carb off, take the gas tank off, or at least, well, we can probably just leave the gas tank on and flush it through once we get the line disconnected. But yeah, there's definitely, oh yeah, and gas is on, so. Okay, yep, so let's go ahead and get to that. Oh, you guys can see the inside of that. It's kind of rusty almost, but I think it'll clean up. See if I turn this on, that'll help. Pretty nasty for something that's probably has no time on it. Yep, just varnished carb. Alright, let's get this carb up on the bench and get it clean. Alright, well, here's our nasty carb. Let's go ahead and disassemble, clean, and reassemble. So we got our float. Pretty ugly. Carb body. Let's see if this screwdriver works. Oh yeah. Okay. So the emulsion tube is up in there and it is stuck, and I pretty much, that's why I started banging on it right away, is because I knew it was going to be stuck. That is, well, I can still actually see through it, but it's probably a little clogged up. Nothing. That might come out when we start blowing through it. Hopefully it does. There's not much else you can do here. It's choke arm. I think I'm going to go full blown, and we'll take this. This is the part of the idle circuit, I believe. Is this little guy under here. Come on. There we go. Alright, so we blow through here. Make sure that this is all cleaned out. That's part of the idle circuit. And then I guess we could take the petcock apart too, because that's probably got a bunch of junk in it. Dang, you guys, that's, I really would like to get that out. Hey, look at that. So I found this piece of rod. I think it's 3/32, and it just has this little nub on the end of it from TIG welding, and it kind of shoved down in there. Worked it around and pulled it out, and I'm glad I did, because look at all this junk on there, which was not going to come out. But actually, it would have worked fine. Well, there's one hole, two holes. So all the bottom holes on here are plugged up. So we'll get all that cleaned out. Alright, let's see if we have any tip cleaners that are small enough to fit. I don't think so. Oh wait, yeah. There we go, right through there. There we go. Oh yeah, that's good. We can run that. Alright, so now that we got that all done, let's go ahead and put it back together. Alright, let's put this thing back together. Put our gasket back on here. Alright, so I drained this thing out. Most of it came out, and then I just hit it with some brake cleaner. Now we're going to make sure... Alright, make sure the vent is clear. Vent is clear. Make sure that the... I guess I can put this back on. Make sure that this is clear. Oh, I should take the lid off of that. Huh. There we go. Alright, so it's time for gas, and we haven't checked for spark or anything, but let's just throw some gas in it and give it a shot. That should be enough for testing purposes. Okay. Alright. Ignition on. Okay. Fuel on. That will help. Choke on. Okay. Oh, you know what? We didn't check oil. Oh, it's got tons of oil in it. Holy moly. Alright, so my goal for this episode is actually to get this thing running and riding. So, I'm going to have to wait a couple days for parts. I got to finish ordering those parts, but when those come in, we will get that stuff installed and we will actually ride this thing. At least that's the goal. And then, from that point, we'll make it cooler. At least that's the plan. So, let's, see you guys when we get some parts in. Alright guys, it's the next day. We're still waiting on parts. I just ordered parts yesterday, but there's still a ton to do. One of the things is the brake, the foot brake that I'm devising. And then I actually don't like how thin this this piece is here, and it's bent with the pegs are on. I like the pegs a lot, actually. I'm going to reuse the pegs. I like them. They're old Mongoose bicycle pegs. But I'm going to replace this with a piece of 1-inch tubing, and we're going to have to put some threaded inserts so we can screw these in. But another thing we need is something to do with this wheel and tire. So this is a 16-inch wheel from Tractor Supply. It's like a wheelbarrow wheel, and it just has the right look. Problem is, I don't know what this foam tire is going to do. So this little 12-inch wheel is actually really rare. All newer kids' bikes have a 12.5-inch wheel, and the tires just don't look right that I can find, and I don't know. This has just been a pain for me to try and figure out. This thing is a 12-inch wheel with a 1.75, I believe. Yeah, 1.75 wide tire. This is a 16-inch wheel with a 1.75 wide tire. I think it's going to look really cool. Like a lot of choppers, they put like the big 21 on their bike, skinny wheel with a 21-inch tire, or a 21-inch wheel with a skinny tire, and that's kind of what I guess this is going to kind of look like. So it's a 16, scaled. It's probably about the same. So And it's going to bring the front of this bike up a little bit, give it a little bit of a different look for sure. And I don't know, hopefully not be as sketchy, but it might be sketchy with this weird foam tire. So we're just gonna have to try it out and see. If it doesn't work, then we'll find something else, or we'll cut this tire off and try to find a tire and tube that'll fit on here. I don't know yet, but this is the way we're gonna go. We're gonna go ahead and get this on here because I'm sick of this flat tire. I was looking yesterday and I could get a tube. I could just put a tube in here, but this old tire is so dry rotted. Like, that's not even an option. And the fact that it's so small is gonna make it super sketchy to ride. So I think this is a better option. This is what we're gonna try. So let's get this thing on here. I think I'm gonna have to end up probably drilling this out because this is, you know, a little tiny axle, and this is a 1/2 inch, but we got some bolts that will hopefully fit this. So let's get this off and get this fit up. Alright, we got our spacers cut. We got our axle holes drilled out. And we're going to go ahead and put this together. Uh-oh. I guess I didn't test my spacers out. We got a little bit of a ridge in there. That's not going to fit. Let's see about this one. Hey, that one fits perfectly. Alright, gotta clean that other one up a little bit. Okay. There we go. Looks good. Alright. Look at that. I like that better, for sure. Let's put this down. Yep, that looks right. I like that. Especially for how stretched out this front fork is. That just looks right. That's, you know, this was clown level, which was funny. But this looks a lot better. I like it a lot. Alright, so the GoPro just glitched, so I'm not sure if you caught what just happened. So we got our pegs pulled off, and I ended up drilling them out for this 7/16 bolt, and this nut right here is going to slide into the end of this piece of 1-inch tubing. So I believe this is looks like 1/8 inch wall. So we're going to cut this off. We're going to notch this just slightly to fit over the tubes, and then we're going to go ahead and weld it on. But we're gonna, currently this is 12 inches wide. When I put my feet on it, it's just a little bit narrow, so I'm just going to add a 1/2 inch to each side, so 1 inch. So we're going to go to 13 inches, and that'll give us just a little bit more room. I think that'll be perfect, actually. So and then we have to come up with some sort of rear brake pedal. So let's go ahead and cut this off and then cut this down, and we'll get going on this. Alright, so I was going to take one of these nuts, or I was going to take the nuts and go like sand down the corners of it, but I found out that it is like a perfect snug fit. It's got to be hammered in, but it's a tight. It's a nice tight fit. Got a little bit off kilter here. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. So we got that in there and that in there. I'm actually going to drill a hole I should have done it beforehand, but I'm gonna drill a hole, 2 plug weld holes to help hold it. I don't think it's gonna be an issue, but we don't want these turning in here. It'd be nice if they were like actual, you know, machine pieces. I don't think it's worth it though. So this is a simple solution. It should work fine. Alright, so I'm going to put basically a slight notch into this tube so it just kind of slips, kind of fits over the tube a little bit, and then we'll weld her in. Alright, that's it. We got new pegs on. We went from our little spindly piece here to a 1-inch piece of tubing. I'm going to end up replacing this engine plate, so I didn't actually weld these all the way around yet. I'm going to be able to flip it around once I tear everything down. But this is a massive improvement. We got our 16-inch wheel now. I got to dream up some sort of a rear brake. It's going to come on this side, and it's going to go, there's probably a rod going that way, hitting the master cylinder and all this stuff, but we've made some progress. I gotta go pick my son up from school, so we'll get back on this tomorrow, and I'm gonna dream up something for this rear brake. It's not perfect, I'm still having problems with this thing. Like, you can see this edge here has got a nice angle to it. Same with this edge. These edges here on these sides are pretty straight. So it seems like, I don't know. Same with the holes. All the holes are kind of, actually everything is pointed this direction. So it's brand new consumables. The cut is actually pretty nice. I'm guessing that something isn't level here, so we probably need to do some adjustments. Not 100% sure. Could be just my torch isn't level, but I've tried to get that thing square in there. It's hard to get it square. I don't know. I'm struggling with this thing, but we'll clean it up and we'll make it work for sure. So this is going to be our brake lever for the for the foot brake, and we're probably going to end up putting a little bend in it to bring it out, but I need to get this thing, and I need to figure out what size holes I'm going to drill. I need to drill these holes. I need to clean this up so it'll fit over our 1-inch pipe, and it should work. Alright, I'm not sure what just happened. I think I just lost some footage, so let's go over this again. So we've got our arm fabricated and cleaned up. We got this rod. We haven't cut it down yet. we've got our master cylinder here. I turned these on the lathe out of the 1/2-inch rod that was where the pegs were, which supported the pegs before. And drilled and tapped them to 1/4-20. We got these 1/4-20 stainless bolts that I found in my bolt bin, and then we're just going to take these, put them in here, and basically weld them just like that. And then this thing will mount here, and then we'll make this arm work. And then we got I've got this wrist pin from my Suburban big block Chevy where I had the one bad piston. So this is the wrist pin from it, and I think I'm going to weld it here. I tried to machine this on the lathe, but this thing is super hard, so I'm not going to be able to machine it. So if it's an issue where it's slippery and it makes it weird on the brake, which I don't think it'll be an issue, we'll put a piece of grip tape on it or something. But I like it. It's like the perfect size. It's shiny, so we're going to end up putting that on there. But first, we're going to go ahead and get this cleaned up so that we can weld these in here, and then we'll get them welded in, and we'll have our cylinder, our master cylinder mounted. The other thing, this is, you can't really see it, but even if we mounted it flush up against the frame, well, flush up against the frame, it would probably hit the clutch, but we're going to stand it off about 1/4 inch from the frame. So it's not literally behind the clutch, but we are going to end up making a clutch cover here that will cover this will cover the clutch, and it'll cover this master cylinder, because I think this thing is pretty ugly. And then we have to figure out a place to mount this, which we can obviously, we can shorten this hose up and bring it clear down here if we need to. But depends, probably mounted to this whatever cover we make. So that's the plan. So let's clean this up and get those welded in. You know what? I am going to put a little bit of anti-seize on these, because I could put these in here and they may never come out again. That is one thing about stainless bolts I have learned. Stainless bolts are really cool, but they might just gall up in here. Okay. We have a master cylinder mounted. There we go. So now we're going to be a little tricky chopping this up and trying not to ruin it. What I'm hoping to do is actually literally cut this and re-thread it, just like it is right here. But I don't know, you know, sometimes getting a tap to do it might be an issue depending on what this is made out of. So that's what I'm going to try and do. Alright, so we're going to chop it, and we're going to try and rethread it. I'll let you know how that goes. Alright, I wanted to check in with you guys and show you what I've done here. So, I changed my mind on this guy back here. I was going to use that clevis, but I'm like, I don't need a clevis. It'll be a weird double clevis. So what I did was I just took a nut and welded it on there, and now it was the perfect width for this little clevis that's on there. And now we got a good connection, and I got an extra piece of this that has a clevis on it. I could use it for something else. Secondly, this guy right here, this little stabilizer piece, I just made a little tab, and that keeps it from walking up and down, because this in here it's not supported up and down. So if you press the brake pedal, it would just bend down, you know. So that's what we got going on so far. Now, the other thing is, I cut these washers, these special washers out of 1/8 inch to fit over this tube and to clear this clevis here. And I have this back one welded in so that this rod is nice and even with the frame of the bike. And then I haven't welded this front one on yet because I want to make sure that my pedal is where I want it to be, because there's a chance maybe that I need to basically kink the pedal over this way and then straighten it back out just to bring it out. And looking at it, I don't know, we'll see. So I literally need to hop up there and sit on the bike and check it. So far this has been a lot of work for a brake. Probably one of the most, the biggest amount of work I've had to do for a brake so far. And we're not even there yet. We still have to make a flange for the rear axle, for the rear wheel, and put the brake on there, and then we got to get the caliper positioned. It's just a ton of work just to do a brake from scratch. Okay, so well, oh yeah, that carb isn't going to be able to go up there, but it needs to be. Let's see here. So we're there. I mean, realistically, it could come out a little bit. So I think I am going to go ahead and pull that back off and give it a little kink, basically to bring it out. Probably 1 inch, I would say, would be comfortable. So that is what we got to do now. So, I mean, I guess I could I could weld this in and then just bring the torch over, torch it and give it a kink and then kink it back. But I think I'm going to put it, I'm just going to take it out and put it in a vise and try to do it that way. So, that's what we need to do. We've almost got the pedal and the master cylinder done. Getting close there. I'm not going to be able, if I put it down here, I'm not going to be able to tell when it's straight. So I guess I got to just keep it clamped in this way and then straighten it out. All right. I'm liking this, and it looks cool. I'm I'm liking it, and it looks cool. So let's see. Boom. And boom. That is perfect. I think we're going to have some sort of a... I bet we're going to have some sort of return spring. No, actually, it seems fine. Okay, so I think we're ready to weld this on. So I think I need to put it like a piece of paper or something to give this just a little bit of space. Because there's no bushing or anything, it's just basically, what would you say? It's just, you know, it'd be nicer if there was a bushing and all that, but this thing is a mini bike. We're not going that far. This is already going probably way too far for a mini bike, but I basically just want to have a little bit of space so this thing doesn't get hung up between these two washers. So I gotta find a piece of paper or something to stick in there. Put this one back here. There we go. So we now have a pedal built from scratch. And our linkage with our little support piece there. And then our master cylinder mounted with our bungs that we made from scratch. So a bunch of fab work in just to get this one little piece to work right and look right on this bike. And then we still have to fabricate a cover for this in the future. Also, so now the next thing, this, I don't know what I'm going to do with this yet. So this is just, we're going to, I don't know. We're gonna get this thing riding first, probably, before we make this piece and do a bunch of stuff. I'm not sure. We'll see. But that needs to get mounted somewhere. But I'm not worried about that right now. Next thing we need to do is we need to make the caliper bracket for this. And you guys are going to see that on the next episode. This episode is just running too long. It's going to be well over an hour by the time we get to the point where this thing is rideable. This rear wheel is going to be a whole bunch of work and brake and sprocket and all that. So you're going to catch it on the next episode. Sorry to cut you guys off short, but we're already at running up on 40 minutes. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please smash that like button for me. Hit the subscribe. Smash the bell to get notified of future videos coming out from DJ's Hot Rod and Fab. Please drop a comment below. That really helps with the algorithms and gets the channel some attention. Like I said, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will catch you on the next one.